The Abbasid Caliphate, the third Islamic dynasty. The Abbasid are a notable civilization for two reasons. One, they start and really dominate the spread of Islam through most of northern Africa and some of Europe. And two, they retain all of the Egyptian and Greek writings about art, mathematics, and technology, and become the most dominant and successful Islamic civilization in the world. Islam was the driving force for unification under the Abbasid. All people practicing their religion were now under one sole ruler, the Caliph, if you will. He was like the Pope of the Islamic Empire. Because of close proximity and interaction for many years, Islam and Christianity had a unique relationship. So close in beliefs, they tend to fight over who was actually right. We see this relationship come into full bloom in the Crusades. Christians fight for the Holy Lands that are occupied by the Muslims. Most of northern Africa was Islamic and still is today. They were exposed to the religion through trade and proximity to the Islamic world. It was adopted as trade became more frequent. When everybody agrees on everything, it is easier to get along and trade. The Abbasid had a great boom in technology, arts, and sciences. When they took over the ancient civilizations, they kept their written works. Thus, they didn't start from scratch when they started to advance. We can tell that they learned from these societies because of the dominance of geometric figures in their architecture. As seen today, the Islamic world had a set decision on the treatment of women. Women were not prominent in society at all. In fact, they were encouraged not to engage in interaction with anyone outside the family. Women only met other non-relative women through arranged marriages. The Bantu people originated in villages in an area south of the Sahara, but because of the harsh desert climate, they spread south and east through Africa. This migration shaped their culture of the Bantu and also influenced those around them as they passed through. Some effects of the migration were: it caused them to have very little political structure. They were minimally involved in trade, trading only with travelers they came in contact with while they were traveling. Most Bantu men were trained warriors, but they did not have much reason to fight, as they were constantly on the move. Their religion was animistic and polytheistic, meaning that they believed in spirits of animals as well as those of people, and they worshipped many gods. The Bantu language was a foundation for many other African languages. There are now approximately 3,000 different Bantu languages. Western Europe during the feudal ages was split into many small Germanic kingdoms. A king ruled each kingdom, and a pope watched over everything. They form a hierarchy, with kings on top, powerful and lesser nobles below them, knights after lords, and peasants and townspeople at the bottom. Each one needed the one above for land and protection, and the one below for loyalty and support, which is what made this system work. Also, women gained the right to own land. Western Europe is very large on agriculture during this time period, and new plows are developed. But the barter system reemerges and trade fades since agriculture causes you to be self-sufficient. Western Europeans practice Roman Catholicism, and the Pope is in charge. Military is usually used for protection on the manors that the land had been divided into. They often had to fight against the Vikings during this time. When the Roman Empire collapsed, half of it slowly became Western Europe as we see it today. The rest became a prominent empire that greatly influenced Russia and many Eastern European countries, the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine wasn't a branch off of the Roman Empire, but more of a direct link to it through its emperors. Centered in the city of Constantinople, the empire flourished when Constantine I took control. He made sure that there was order in the empire by enforcing the Justinian law codes. These codes were the most intricate of the time. The culture was more like Eastern cultures of Prussia, with traditions and customs much like those of the Roman Empire, but based more on Orthodox Christianity. Flowering arts and sciences were a part of this society. They built major buildings and churches like the Hagia Sophia. They are also remembered for their mastery of mosaics they used to decorate churches. The Aztec civilization was located near present-day Mexico City. They, like the Incans, had a strict hierarchy. It reads from top to bottom: monarchs, lords and nobles, merchants, commoners, and slaves. However, the monarch in the Aztec government did not have absolute power and had a council who helped him make many decisions. They established the city of Tenochtitlan, and their strong military expanded by conquering until they ruled lands that reached from coast to coast. They took large tributes from conquered lands. Religion was a major part of their civilization, and they sacrificed humans to their many gods, even took part in cannibalism. They were an agriculturally based society and invented the floating gardens, as well as their own calendar and writing system. The Incan civilization developed in the 14th century, stemming from older civilizations, and by the end of the 15th century it stretched almost 2,500 miles along the Andes Mountains. The Incas had a strictly hierarchical society, which reads from top to bottom: ruler, royal, priests, tribal representatives, and common people. The Incas had a centralized government, and the ruler was believed to be a god. Their society was based on agriculture, and they used the mountain terraces to grow the majority of their crops. Religion and military were both very important to the Incas. They worshipped Inti, the sun god, as their main deity and had a large, skilled professional army.